This is Borderlands Game of the Year Edition. We're here on the Nintendo Switch 2. Be sure to like the video. Subscribing is great as well. So we're going to crouch out of that and dive into the original Borderlands game. So this is an experience that I thoroughly enjoyed back on the 360 back in the day. And then, you know, we got a re-released version of it for like Xbox One. And then they also did a current gen version of the game, but as far as Nintendo goes, we got a pretty late into the lifespan of this particular title release and port of this game as part of a collection of Borderlands games. So this one, and then I'll be taking a look at the other Borderlands titles as well, kind of allows you to enjoy the full scope of the original Borderlands experience, which is quite exciting. It allows you to play basically alone or with others, because a big part of the experience, at least I felt, when playing Borderlands was not playing it alone, but playing it with other people, because I do think that this is a much more fun experience when you do get to dive in and play together, which is really, really quite thrilling. So yeah, the original Borderlands game, an absolute treasure of a time, definitely well worth your visit, and it was something that was, I guess you would say, okay on the original, like the Nintendo Switch. Are we stuck? Are we stuck here? Like, did you creatures move us out of the way? How am I stuck on this? It just seems statistically unlikely that I would get stuck like that. Right, like it's weird. Can I blow the vehicle out of the way, or? No, she's just okay, now she's gone. She's stuck and now she's gone. If that's not what bad luck is, I don't know what is. But yeah, no, I got to check this out when it first launched for the Switch 1, and for the most part, it was a pretty good experience. And then here on Switch 2, it just helped smooth over some of the things that were a little bit issues in regards to like performance and stuff like that. But yeah, we're just kind of getting a much better Borderlands time, and it's kind of exciting to see it available and kicking here on the, well, Nintendo Switch 2. So this is something with the gyro options, and then some other little choices here or there you can make in regards to fine-tuning this for the Switch. And it's not a bad version of the game, honestly. Like, it is the full game. It's basically, I would say, this is why I was kind of mentioning the 360 as to say, it's essentially like a touched-up version of that, right? It's just like, hey, here's a higher resolution than it ran there, same sort of frame rate options, and then, you know, that's sort of what you got. So it's 1080p, like locked 1080p when you're on the, I guess you would say, docked version of the game on the big screen. And then when you're on the go, it's 720p, and it's 30 FPS, and it's now a smoothed out 30 FPS. There were some times where the action goes a little crazy, and there you would get some drops, but enough overhead here on the Switch 2 that it actually runs smoothly and looks pretty good along the way. It is a little jaggedy around the edges, as 1080p is. You can see that in like power lines and around the buildings and stuff, but you know, it's not the end of the world if you're used to that sort of thing on Nintendo platforms. But yeah, no, it's a nice kind of going experience if you want to play it, and not too bad in that regard. Like, it looks clean, it runs well, it's smooth. What more could you really want out of ye olde Switch? On the Switch 2, though, I am hoping that at some point they do maybe like a next-gen Aware update. Would be pretty sweet. Like, if you're not familiar with Borderlands, they're usually pretty good to their fans in regards to, you know, keeping up their legacy stuff. That's where I was kind of saying, you know, as far as getting like updates, there was a surprise update for the consoles last time, which I thought was quite awesome. Is this not giving me the go-ahead on this one? Usually you just kind of come here and... Oh! I may not be till my DNA has been given... Okay, that's funny. So what do you want me to do? So what do you need from me, Claptrap? Catch a ride. Anyways, maybe I'm just not a high enough level and it's like, oh, you're gonna die if you come here. I wanted to also mention, as far as video, you can adjust the FOV of the game if you want to see a wider range, and it will run still smooth for you even though you have that. And then, yeah, like I said, there's the gyro options, which I am not a fan of in the slightest. I am not a fan of the gyro. Road kill, turn on. Okay, well I should probably go and do that. That's nowhere near where I am. I'm literally on the other side of the map. I don't suppose there's a fast travel. Nope. That's hilarious. I had that coming. I definitely deserve that. No, that's funny. I was just following whatever request I had last time, and it was like, no, not a good idea. But yeah, I've played this on the Xbox in the past, and basically they let you carry. I don't really know other games that do this. They let you carry your saves. Basically, I took my save from 360 all the way to the Series X, like with the upgrades they did, the next gen aware updates. And I know they're kind of busy right now with Borderlands 4 and stuff, but I am hoping that the Switch gets a similar treatment for this package. I don't know, maybe they'll charge for it or whatever, I don't know, but it was free on the other platforms and you just got like a way better version of the game that was just kind of bumped up for performance and stuff. And I think the Switch 2 should more than be capable of providing a higher resolution and at least a higher frame rate for this game. It would be lovely to see if that was an option that was present for this. For sure, I would really genuinely love that. Alright, let's hand in the quest.
Thanks to you, no more bandits.
Yay! The Mine Gate Key. What quest am I actually supposed to be doing here? Get the mine... Oh, this is where you go and you fight the thing of the thing? Am I good enough for that? This game's got, like, you know, you actually gotta follow the level system to a degree. Unless you got a buddy you play with. You have your buddy come in and you can just mow everybody down. I think it also depends on which Borderlands you're playing. I believe they became a little less fun for that, if that makes sense. Yeah, as the Borderlands kind of games kind of gone on, I was like, I think it was a little less fun scaling. Am I really getting... I don't remember getting stuck in this vehicle, like, ever when I played on other platforms, and yet I'm stuck twice today. It's very, very weird for me, this feeling of this happening. I've got to be honest with you. Anyways, it's a very satirical game. It's, you know, trying to be funny and hilarious. And, like, I felt the humor at the time for this was definitely on par, and I think it's still got some funny bits to it today. But whether or not the humor works and clicks for you is going to be a whole other thing. It's a shooter game where there's more of a focus on, like, the role-playing and the leveling, and you get a lot of time out of this. There's lots of different quests, lots of different missions, weird, quirky bosses, tons of side activities. You can play it online with others as a group of you get together to enjoy the magic that is Borderlands. And yeah, it's always a bit of a trip when I get to, well, basically have an excuse to come in and play this game again. As I said, it was a favorite of mine back in the day. I remember I rented it and then I brought it home and it was like, ain't no rest for the wicked. And I was like, wow, okay. And then I went out and bought it because I was like, it's so good. That was the power of trying out games back in the day, was, you know, you go and you play something and you go, wow, this is really, really spectacular. I love this. I want to own it. And that's what happened. And then, yeah, I've kind of been a fan of the series ever since, I guess you would say. Certainly played my share of hours across the different games that are available. Except for like Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. Yeah, I never got access to review that one, which was a bit surprising. I got such a legacy covering these games. And my stuff does it pretty good for them too. I was just throwing that out there. Did you die, bandit, so I don't have to respawn? I don't think I'm gonna kill the bandit fast enough. No, there we go. I lose my money and everything. That's depressing. Well, you lose some of your money. So anyways, the game, I'm all the way back here. That's just really like, that's all the way over there. It's like 500 meters away. Anyways, the game is circled around the idea, or centered around the idea of you collecting bazillions of guns. That's like the whole point of it. Like, you got these basic skill trees. Like, it was the first game, right? So like, the complexity wasn't there. When you get to the later games, the complexity of like weapon quantities and skill stuff, it increases like tenfold for sure. Like, there's lots more they add to it. Can we just actually teleport all the way over here? Oh, that's beautiful. It uses like a spawn point. That's creative. And it's like, yeah, this is like the simple one at the beginning, but it still had like tons of different randomized. I'd say randomized, but like it had tons of guns, tons of weird missions, tons of tools and weapons. These guys are actually pretty tough. And you just went on this crazy adventure across Pandora because you're hunting for a vault. You're a vault hunter, which is super cool. And your goal and your adventure is to go and find these vaults, and then you collect gear and loot, and you keep fighting, and you explore all these places and do all these different things, and you go on a great journey. And with this being the Game of the Year edition, you get all the DLC for this one, which was really the original like launch DLC for like the first Borderlands Game Year's DLC was kind of neat. They definitely did some creative stuff. I mean, Borderlands 2 had, I think, even better DLC. Like, it had really, really good DLC. Not knocking this one. I actually really loved the expansions of this game. I think they were super cool at the time. I like Noxes and stuff. But, yeah, there really was something great about what they had going on in this game. That's why I'm always happy to sort of recommend it and talk about it on different platforms, because I really do think it's that great. Like, you come in here, you just grab tons of different weapons. You do all kinds of crazy stuff. You try to survive against the hordes of the bandits and the psychos, and you discover like little, hidden secrets along the way of the lore of the world of Pandora. And it just gets crazier like the further you play in the Borderlands games. Like, there is just some crazy stuff. And the characters you meet, like, I know people really love where Borderlands 2 took the series as far as characters and adventures and stuff, but for me, Borderlands 1 really did set the stage and the most memorable characters in the series for me, and you got to really know them and care about them over the course of the stories, and yeah, it's very interesting. It's almost like reflective, because these games are actually turning like getting on to a couple decades soon. Like, it's weird because like I remember when this stuff came out and I was younger, and yeah, now it's just years gone by and I'm still revisiting the same sort of titles and stuff. But on the Switch here, it's not bad. Like, it really is. Like, I mean, obviously I'd love the higher performance level, a little bit of a better resolution, but it looks clean enough for a Switch. It runs smoothly as 30 FPS can be, and then on top of that, it's just kind of like a complete version of this experience. It's just that 360 vibe, a thing that I loved, and now it's just like, hey, running a little bit better, looking a little bit better, so don't really have a whole lot of complaints in that area, I would say for sure. I think you can have a genuinely great time and have no rest for the wicked, as that money does not grow on trees. The core cast of characters is really cool too. Like, you get a very distinct styling. I think that was a cool thing about Borderlands as well, was that it did actually have a strong roster of characters that you play as. And it's like, it's open world, but it's more like Fable, where there's like hub worlds, and you load from area to area, and the loading is faster and stuff. And yeah, it's kind of neat because you get that sense of scale, but you get all these different areas, but it also isn't too overly massive, and then you get vehicles depending on the area to go and use, and then, as I said, the different skill trees. So it's like every character, and they added personality and story to the characters, in the second one and further, but like, you know, when he uses sirens, you kind of have, like, magic abilities and stuff, and then I'm like the soldier class, which is always my favorite. I'm like the tough stoic guy, and I'm about guns and the turrets, and then you've got a guy there that's all about his special bird pal, and then you've got a guy that's basically a brick. Yeah. Which is kind of fun. Wow, I'm really kind of dying easily here. I don't like when you start out in Borderlands. It's so, like, I wouldn't even say this is a starting out. Like, my character is, like, leveled a little bit, but you can definitely tell that I'm struggling a bit because I don't have, like, the weapons and stuff. Like, it's more fun, too. They have, like, you can go back and it can be a little harder, but, like, when I use my other account, I just kind of mow down and, like, single shot everything because my character class is that strong because I've put in the, I've put in the time, I've done the leveling and the work, and you just become strong enough and good enough to do things. You know, you get as good as you can get, and that's kind of the thing. I also believe that this game aesthetically looks as good as it does, because the aesthetic, which is cel-shaded mimic, you know, mimicking that sort of vibe and style, it really helps create like a more, I guess you would say, timeless look. If that makes sense, like, the visuals feel like something that always look good. I'm gonna get down, so I'm gonna take this guy's second life. That's not good. Kinda thought he'd be like an easy second life there, but I'm missing all the... There we go, I got the second win. Well, second win. Unbelievable how hardcore that was. Yeah, it's actually legitimately difficult. A lot easier when you play with a pal here, or you've got like a class setup going. Yeah, you build up your abilities, you get elemental things, so you might be able to shoot like poison, and you know, every gun kind of fires a little bit differently. Every weapon does its own thing. The characters have their own vibes. It's just like a lot of personality. And like fun music and silly stuff, and I think that's what makes Borderlands so special. It's just like the zany, ridiculous gameplay that keeps you kind of coming back and playing. And I don't know if that style is really held true all these years later, but at least going back to the original in the first couple, you're like, yeah, I know this is a great series, action-packed. I'm just dying over it again. Heartbreaking is what it is. I don't suppose I do have any better kind of weapons, do I? Wow, no, I really don't. I'm forced to suffer like this. If only I could take my save from the other platform. That would be super, super helpful. The problem with some of these older games, you know, you get characters you build up, and then you go and play somewhere else, and it's just like, well, I want my character's skills and thrills and weapons and tools. And it's kind of like, so long, sucker. But yeah, no, seriously, jump in, play Borderlands 1. I know there's definitely some different ways that you can experience the Borderlands series here on the Nintendo Switch too. But I would say that this is a very good way to play this sort of thing, again, within the realms of what you expect out of a Nintendo title. I am just hoping, though, that eventually they sit there and they give this one a bit of a bump up, make it run a little bit better. Or maybe they'll remaster it at some point. I don't know what to say. Like, it looks pretty timeless, but I guess you could maybe make it look a bit better. And my turret got destroyed in midair. This is the problem with my guns. They're not good enough. Usually I can come in and I can just kill a guy in like 3 shots or something and get back. And it's just like, nope. He's gonna keep dying. Actually, you forget kind of how aggressive and intense Borderlands can be if you haven't played it for a long time. You're like, oh, it's been years. And then it's like, yeah, no, they definitely, they make you work for this. But that's the challenge. You gotta earn the cooler guns and stuff and have fun. But that's a full Borderlands game on the Nintendo Switch 2. and we'll be back with more.